the concept, the idea that some are struggling with the fact that, number one, they don't know whether or not they should root for them to have success at the World Cup. And number two, it's even been ballied about that there are those that are like, I wouldn't even stand for our anthem if I'm there in person.
That's been the story
out.
that we're referencing. That's an outcast.
No, it's not that.
I saw the headline and I could not even read it.
Again, it's
apologies to whoever wrote it because that question is so ludicrous.
The idea that you
is
are
it
rooting
unpatriotic
against the United
to root
States.
Against your own country? Of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is. Why? Because you disagree with the politics of a few of the players and not even all of them? Look, I've talked about this with multiple people. I disagree with 98% of what Megan Rapinoe says. If you want to go into this tournament rooting against Megan Rapinoe to be some hero and play great in it, but wanting the Americans to win, fine. I'm totally cool with that. But the fact that you are going to allow a political opinion of an American citizen, by the way, who has won multiple World Cups for this country, to cause you to not root for America. And now Hutton is telling me there's actual idiots that are saying, maybe I won't stand for the national anthem. This pissing match
if they were there,
back and forth of, you are so un-American, and I disagree with you so much, I'm going to hit you back so hard that I'm going to be a worse American than you. I'm going to be less American than you are, and I will show you what is up. Give me this camera right here, right now. Let me tell everyone that does that. You are an idiot, okay? We are Americans. We root for America to do well. If you want to prove Megan Rapinoe wrong and all of her idiotic takes wrong, root for this team and show her that, you know what? We got each other's back in this country. You might think you live in a third world country and it's bad here, but I know the rest of the world is worse because we're Americans. And we are so good at being American that we will root for you and your teammates. And you can deal with that. You can deal with Republicans rooting for you. You can deal with MAGA heads out there rooting for you. Everyone is rooting for you. Deal with it, Megan. And if you don't want them watching or rooting for you, great. That's how I'll show you how much of an American I am. I am here raising my hand right now saying, I, Chad Withrow, have done less for America than Megan Rapinoe because she's won World Cups for this country. I haven't done that, but I cheer like hell for America because I am a patriot and I love this country, and you should be too. How are we even discussing this?
I can't imagine tuning into a World Cup match against Vietnam and rooting for Vietnam.
Vietnam is the opponent. Vietnam.
Again, it's
Does
mind-boggling.
anyone know history?
Mind-boggling.
There are ancestors of the women they're playing that have killed Americans in war. And people are actually debating on whether or not to root for Vietnam?
Yes.
Read a freaking history book.
It's so
Go
dumb.
online, read Wikipedia, something.
Now, here's where I understand what people are saying. They're saying
please
if,
flip that,
if
baby.
they were there, if they were actually going to tune in, there is no buzz about the World Cup.
It's in New Zealand.
But still.
I think anything that happens so many time zones away automatically gets.
But you're just now starting to see the headlines of how they're going for an historic three-peat, right? This isn't some build-up.
I'm with you. I had no idea it was happening tonight.
Yeah.
They play tonight at 8 Eastern.
But the build-up normally is through the network, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of silence. And
now, if they're playing
especially during a slow time.
If they're playing for the World Cup, I think it'll have some ratings.
Sure.
If it's on at the right time. I mean, I'm saying the championship match. But, I mean, I don't know what we're going to see until then. This is just, I'm not going to play into this. I'm going to be more American than you by rooting against America because you don't like America, and now I don't like you. I don't like Megan Rapinoe. Megan Rapinoe, as an American citizen, has every right to protest, do and say whatever she wants. I am for freedom of speech and First Amendment for everyone. There's a great op-ed that was sent to us about embracing unpopular opinions, right? I'm for that on all sides, and I think it's important to protect that. So I protect her right to say what she wants. I also protect my right to think she's an idiot. about half the things she says. And I disagree with most of what she says. But I'm not going to show that disagreement by rooting for Vietnam to beat America in a soccer match. If America as a country and the best of the best in that sport are playing in something, I am rooting for America. Without any deliberation, without any thought, I am rooting for the Americans. Period.
And then, on the far end of this is aside from not rooting, we can't stand with them and stand for, what they stand for by standing for the anthem. I'm thinking, why is this so difficult where we just went through everything with the NFL with why you stand for the anthem and how it's not about making it a political dynamic.
It's the one time you put politics aside.
Yeah, and now the same. I feel like there is a pocket of the same people that were on that side of it that are now saying this because it's the United States women's national team.
I try to stay offline on some of this
stuff.
So
stupid.
But I have not heard of anyone. You're going to have to explain this to me more.
It's been retweets and social of this.
There's not a single person that paid to go to this match in New Zealand to watch the U.S. women's national team.
I thought you were going to say period.
That would ever consider sitting for the national anthem in the stadium.
Again, it's all hypothetical.
I don't even know what they mean.
It's all hypothetical. But to have that as the discussion instead of just, winning on behalf of the country is dumb.
I just think if you really want to win hearts and minds, this is not the answer. Like if you disagree with someone, it's not the answer to say, I'm so much better as an American than you that I'm now going to sit for the national anthem and I'm not going to support you. If you want to win hearts and minds, you look everyone in the eye and say, I disagree with you. Here's why you're wrong. Here's why you should really support women's athletics and say what everyone knows, that men should not compete in women's sports and take away Title IX opportunities instead of being on the wrong side of – everybody wants to talk about the wrong side of history. Megan Rapinoe's on the wrong side of history on that issue. I'd like to talk to her about that. I'd like to interview her about that and talk to her about that. But one thing I'm never going to do is tell her, hey, I hate your opinion so much that when you suit up for my country and wear an American flag, I'm rooting like hell for Vietnam to beat you.
Right.
Think about how dumb that statement is I just said. I mean, seriously,
no matter how much you disagree with her, it doesn't change the
that
fact that she's an American just like you or I, right? And
so
she has that platform to speak.
Stupid.
But so do we. So does everyone. And it's more about who's wrong and what makes them worse than what makes something else better or trying to be better. And the bickering back and forth. There will be more coverage about what comes out of that locker room and those women than the actual reason why they're there on behalf of the country.
Do I wish
that will be the headline instead of the 3P?
Yeah, and do I wish that they wouldn't say awful things about America the whole time they're abroad in a tournament like this and asked about it?
Or their sport, yeah.
Yeah,
for equal pay
I wish they would do that. But guess what? That's what's great about our country. They don't have to worry about coming home and getting thrown into an internment camp because they said something bad about our country. They're allowed to do that because they're Americans, and I support that free speech.